Hello everybody and welcome along to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Great to have your company. Absolutely beautiful day today. We're getting ready to go qualifying for the IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship. It's John Hindhaugh and the rest of the IMSA radio team. And well, this is just one of the best places to come motor racing. We are so lucky here up in the Canadian Lakes area, just north of Toronto, Bowmanville, with 2.4 miles and 10 corners to challenge our drivers and teams. Action areas into Moss Corner at turn 5, and then, well, a commitment turn at turn 8. No braking there, but my goodness, you have to have a car that works really well. Possible overtaking spot at the first corner as well. It's great weather. The teams are in the pit lane. We'll check in with our Continental Tire pit lane reporter Shea Adam in just a few moments' time. And we've got qualifying coming up. As usual, 15-minute sessions. It's the GT Daytonas next, and that will be live here on IMSA Radio and IMSA TV. And let's check in straight away with Shea Adam, our Continental Tire pit lane reporter. Little bit of cloud just going over the sun at the moment as we throw down to you, Shea. What do you know about qualifying drivers for the GT Daytona category? 11 cars we're expecting to see on the pit lane.
Well, but he just turned it off. Man, I was going to say, before we get into the qualifying drivers, let's hear from an Audi, because the Magnus Audi, the number 44, had a bit of an off at the end of the last session. It is back on the pit lane. John Potter will be qualifying that car, and so that'll be a good one, because Audis always go well here, and he shares for the race tomorrow with Mr. Andy Lally, who's kind of a maniac and loves this place. He's always fun to watch. In the 58 Wright Motorsports Porsche, it is the one and only Christina Nielsen. She'll be going for a pole position. And in the number 16, it is Michael Shine. The Lexuses, as Jeremy would say, with a few more zizzes on the end of that, they are going for a very interesting strategy. Their gold drivers are going to be qualifying those cars. So Jack Hawksworth, who's gotten a couple of poles so far this year, will be trying to replicate what happened last year and put a Lexus on the GTD pole. And Dominic Baumann has been given duties over the hometown hero, Kyle Marcelli, in the number 14 Lexus. So that will be fun to watch. And it means that Kyle won't have to sit on the pit box for the second half of the race tomorrow, potentially watching his car win the race. He'll actually be the one driving it. So that'll be a lot of fun. The number 96, the Turner Motorsports BMW, which has been very quick so far this weekend, has Robbie Foley behind the wheel. So Robbie, who's just gotten a bit of additional track time in the IPC practice session, he knows what it's like. He might have a bit of an advantage coming into the session. It is Ben Keating in the 33 Mercedes, no surprise there, and Cooper McNeil in the number 63 Ferrari. And those are all the cars I know, because I turned down towards pit in instead of going the other way under the Michelin bridge. So I will let you know the rest of the qualifiers in about a minute's time.
Thank you, Shea. Shea Adam, our Continental Tire pit lane reporter, bringing together the community around the world and around the track here as well on 90.7 FM. Good afternoon to those of you. Get yourselves trackside. It's nearly time to go qualifying. Looking forward to this immensely this afternoon, and can't wait to see just what sort of times we are going to get here. Jeremy Shaw sits to my right. Generally speaking, Jeremy, we've seen some very impressive times. The prototypes will be last. That will be our, well, presumably that will be our overall pole sitter. But all through the classes, that's the cherry on top at the end of a very rich meal that we are about to enjoy. We're 8 seconds away from the green flag, but all of the cars here have been incredibly fast right from the very first green flag in FP1.
Yeah, we saw a stunning lap time this morning from Jack Hawksworth in at number 15, 3GT Racing Lexus RCF GT3. The previous best in the class was basically a 16.0. Oh, actually, yesterday. It was a 16.3, I think. Well, Jack Hawksworth went around here in a 1 minute 15.546. That's a full second faster than Sage Cara managed last year in claiming the pole here at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. So a remarkable effort by the Englishman.
And Shea Adam can give us the drivers that are qualifying that we didn't get. You're giggling, and I suspect I know why. Does that involve Alvaro Parent by any chance?
And Brian Sellers. So we're going to have a real knockout, drag-out fight for the pole here in this qualifying session. So I'm excited. And if you're standing trackside, you might just want to take a couple steps back, because both of the Lexuses, the Turner Motorsport BMW, they've been fast all weekend, and previous pole sitter cars, the Turner BMW won last weekend out. And then you just throw Sellers and Parent into the equation, the two guys with the cars first and second in the championship, fighting for the best starting position in GTD. Yes, please.
Thank you, Shea. Now, the battle for the championship, Jeremy, is mouth-watering as well here in GT Daytona, just as the cars are coming up to speed, not missing any of the action right now. It is very close at the top of the GTD Championship, with Madison Snow and Brian Sellers leading as they came into this weekend by a single point over Catherine Legg, who's in the 86 car this weekend. Alvaro Parent had to miss one of the rounds. He missed Detroit, didn't he? Because the car wasn't originally meant to be there. It was only meant to be in the longer races. So Brian Sellers is off and running down through turn 2. Runs out to the red and white curb, sets himself up from the left-hand side of the road, up the uphill at turn 3 and over the top to turn 4. The number 48, red, white and blue, with a bit of black on it as well. Paul Miller Racing Lamborghini Huracan coming down into the uphill at the Moss Turn Complex. The V10 Lamborghini Huracan engine singing gently in the sunshine here. Perfect weather conditions, barely a breath of wind. And on the back straight, the Andretti straight, Brian Sellers now underneath the Canadian Tire walkover bridge and into turn 8. Just took the car into a second apex there, through 9, the left-hander, and now into our sight already through the final corner, and goes across the start-finish line to stop the clock on a 1:18.717. That's not a bad opening lap, and he's got a bit of space on this second lap as well, with nobody ahead of him as he goes through turn 1. Not a bad opening gambit there for Brian Sellers. 18.7 is the first representative lap, and those Continentals have come up to temperature and pressure, Jeremy Shaw, very quickly indeed, and Brian clearly very comfortable.
Yep, plenty of time to come, certainly during this session, and I wouldn't be surprised to see the car staying out for most of the session and going quicker and quicker as the times come down, the fuel load burns off. Some of them might elect to put on not enough fuel to get all the way through the session and try and get a lap time down early when these Continental tyres are at their best. You're watching Alvaro Parent come through turn 5 and 5/8, get a good exit onto the Mario Andretti straightaway that isn't uphill.
Isn't the straightaway? Yes, very good.
Anything but a straightaway, isn't it? But it is flat out all the way up there as well, and for the prototypes we'll be seeing later, almost flat out at turn 8 as well. That is really amazing to watch.
Did I hear one of the prototype drivers say that they only brake 3 times around this circuit? Well, that's extraordinary if it's true.
Yeah.
Through comes Parent in that Sirius XM sponsored machine, and we will of course have the race here in North America and Canada on Sirius XM across the weekend. 2:02 and 1:38. Check the website for details. And that's full race coverage on Sunday. Sorry, Jeremy, go ahead.
Beg your pardon. 1:16.6 that was for Alvaro Parent. Goes to the top of the charts, and he wasn't particularly quick in the first sector on that lap either. She hasn't gone particularly quickly on this next lap either, who's set to 1. I think he's maybe just given those Continental tyres a little bit of a breather, and then we'll try it again. Jack Hawksworth has just gone purple in the first sector. He's currently 10th. That won't last for very long. He will move up the order. Dominic Baumann now goes to the top with a 16.242 in the number 14 Lexus. But already on this lap, Jack Hawkes has got a couple of tenths on him in the first sector, a couple of tenths on the second. He's coming out of the final corner now. Looks like a good exit onto the front straight. Let's see what he can turn in number 15.
Christina Nielsen just starting another lap, and Hawksworth goes to the top of the times of 15.581 in that chrome red number 15. That is a very impressive time.
Well, it really is, because I mean it's warmer now than it was this morning. Ideal conditions this morning when Hawksworth did his qualifying sim tour at the end of that practice session. I doubt anybody's going to get to anywhere near that, but he's gone faster again on this next sector, by the way, sector 1 on this next lap, so he's still on it in car number 15.
And it's Lexus first and second, as Bauman's dropped into second place with the 16.2. Keating, Ben Keating up into third in the Riley Motorsports AMG GT3.
Yeah, not a professional driver, of course, Ben Keating. That's a fine effort there to be ahead of the championship leaders, with Brian Sellers at a 16.5, Alvaro Parent in the second place in the championship car, number 86, at a 16.6. Michael Shine doing a nice job too in the Porsche, car number 16, sixth fastest, is a 16.8. And he improves there, does Shine, up into fourth now, a 16.5 in car number 16 for Wright Motorsports. So it's Lexus, then Mercedes, Porsche, Lamborghini, Acura, BMW and Ferrari rounding out the top 8.
So 7 different manufacturers in the top 8. The Lexus is the only double. Don't forget, later on we will be having live in vision as well as sound the 120-minute Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge race, weather set fair. That's all live and free, no interruptions, no breaks, no blocks. All of that action coming up later on this afternoon, and then tomorrow 2 races for you, an hour and 45 minutes for the Mazda, presented by Mazda IMSA Prototype Challenge cars. 2 classes of cars there.
Ben Keating improved again last time around in the Mercedes, car number 33, still remains third fastest, now down to 16.417. Improvement also for Dominic Baumann, the second place car, the Lexus car number 14, a 116.020, but still the better part of a half a second behind Jack Hawksworth, who continues to pound around. The last lap he clearly made a mistake, I think, in the second sector on lap, perhaps now down at the Moss Corners, turns 5 and 5A, because he was very fast in the first sector but lost a lot of time in the second. He's got another good lap going now. Yeah, okay, fine. It's another good lap. A bit quicker than, probably would have been quicker than anybody else has managed, but he's brought that car onto pit lane with 6.5 minutes remaining.
Might just park that car up.
I think so.
No need to put any more laps. He's done 4 laps on the tyres, 5 actually, counting his in lap. There's an improvement for Brian Sellers up into third position. Dominic Baumann has improved in second as well, so just keeps a little bit of a gap to himself, from himself to Brian Sellers, about 4/10 of a second. So Brian Sellers, championship leader, vaults above Ben Keating into third place.
Alvaro Parent, he's on a better lap now. He's still in 6th position in car number 86. That's the Acura that currently lies second in the points table, just 1 behind the number 48 Lamborghini of Brian Sellers.
Great hustle from the 44 Magnus Audi team to get John Potter back out in this session after John had an ABS system that didn't want to play going up into turn 5. That will have caught him out.
Yeah, he's done well to bounce back.
Yeah.
The team has done well to get that car
agreed.
back out again, and John's just turned a 17.6. Yeah, it's 11th, but still not a bad lap from John Potter in that number 44 Audi.
Looks like Ben Keating's coming into the pit lane. Yes, he hits the pit lane line now alongside us. Meantime, already down into turn 1, the Acura number 93 of Justin Marks. Christina Nielsen completes another lap, and she is in 8th position, defending champion of course, Christina Nielsen. 5 minutes to go. John Potter down through turn 1. just rubbing on the curb on the exit as he goes through. Down through 2. I love the way that Audi handles down through 2. Very, very nice platform. Stable, confidence inspiring. And the car, by the way, looking absolutely immaculate. You would not think that had, what, half a dozen bales of tyres on it a couple of hours ago? Not even that.
Not even that, no.
Yeah. Really good stuff. He's up at the scene of the crime now and negotiates turns, well, the turn 5 complex absolutely perfectly under the Mobil 1 signage and onto the back straight that isn't, which I'm going to steal from you now, Jeremy. That's very good.
The number 96 Turner Motorsport BMW that won last time out with Marcus Paltela, Don Yount and Dylan McAvern. This weekend, 2 completely different drivers, Robbie Foley and Bill Oberlin. That car was fast, particularly in Bill Oberlin's hands, but Robbie Foley has just improved last time around. 7th position for Robbie at a 1:16.7 last time. And he's within, if you can find another 10th of a second, he'll move himself up 3 positions on the grid.
Live from trackside, qualifying for WeatherTech SportsCar Championship. It's the big IMSA weekend here at the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park for the Mobil 1 SportsCar Grand Prix. Still 2 sessions to come. We've got GTLM and the prototypes to come. Colin Brown has topped every session so far for Core Autosport. Will he be putting the car to qualify? That 54 Orica with the Gibson engine.
Missed the second apex there at 5A, did number 58 car of Christina Nielsen, trying to improve upon 8th position at the moment.
Top 6 are in the pits now, with Alvaro Parent having improved to that 6th position.
Christina's best qualifying this season was a 7th at Mid-Ohio, currently 8th place for car number 58.
Yeah, been an up and down season for that 58 car. We're not allowed to mention it anymore because every time we do, we put the curse of the commentator on it. So we won't be talking about that very much in the race tomorrow. Looking resplendent back in its standard colours this weekend of red, white and black. Turner BMW still has some of the Stars and Stripes livery on it that it had last weekend at Watkins Glen. I suspect there may be a bit of thought there that we're not going to change a car that was so successful last time out, Jeremy.
I would go along with that.
Race teams tend to be rather superstitious, don't they?
Indeed. So Robbie Foley remains one of just 2 cars out on the racetrack, just he and Christina Nielsen. At the moment, everybody else has parked their cars at the end of this session, just inside now 1 minute, well, about a minute and a half remaining.
Great turbo chatter from the BMW. Sounds like a mid-1980s Group B rally car with the twittering of the wastegate on trailing throttle. Nice, neat and tidy Robbie Foley through the turn 5 area in that 96 blue and yellow, mainly blue and yellow Turner BMW. He's on the Andretti straight now with just over a minute to go. Climbs up the second of the rises before committing himself to the left-hander, just balancing the car over the top of the brow. That brow's in exactly the wrong place as you come into there. It unsettles the car just when you want to be getting it ready to turn into a very fast right-hand corner. Great place to go and watch. You really see how the cars that are well set up are working, and you see what a handful the ones that aren't.
A twitch there at the exit of turn 1, but kept well under control by Foley. Last time around was a 1:17.3, which is around about half a second away from his best time in this session.
Christina Nielsen has gone through for another lap, did not improve. She's on a slightly better lap now than Robbie is, by about a 10th, but no more than that. Checkered flag is in hand off to my left on the starter stand. And it will be Christina who will see it first, paired with Pat Long. Looks like Christina is out of the throttle and will come into the pits, I think, this time around. Yes, she's in the pit lane now. turns hard right in front of us, and is in there. Pat Long, very excited. Pat Long is a big Porsche fan, of course, and part of the team that puts Luftgekühlt together, which is the celebration of all things air-cooled Porsche. And we will be having Luftgekühlt at the end of the month, 29th, in the UK, at Bicester. Bicester, the old Air Force base over there, that's been turned into almost like a working theme park. It's fantastic, the Bicester Heritage Area. Tickets are extremely limited, and so if you're interested, make sure you go onto the Luftgekühlt site and get registered straight away and get over to their end of the month, Sunday 29th of July. And I am delighted to say that I'm around, so I am going. Good for you. Taking the 993 over, I think.
Third pole then in the last 4 races for Jack Hawksworth. Didn't qualify the car at Detroit, but did at Mid-Ohio and Watkins Glen, put it on the pole both times, and also set the fastest lap in the race both times, but had to make do with 4th place finishes. So this weekend he'll be looking to improve upon that, get the car at least on the podium will be the plan for he and David Heinemeier Hansen. Another excellent qualifying performance by the 27-year-old from Bradford in Yorkshire, England.
Yeah, he's settling in very nicely to the endurance racing role and taking that chrome red and grey Lexus down towards the cameras and of course to our Continental Tire pit lane reporter Shea Adam, who will have a word with our first of 3 pole sitters that we're going to set this afternoon for the IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship here in qualifying GT Daytona. 3 in a row when he has been qualifying for Jack Hawksworth and Lexus.
You mean he was coming down to see the cameras, John, and not me? I thought he was just driving down this beautiful red Lexus to come visit the
I said you as well.
Oh, well, yes, but I was more of the afterthought there. Jack will be very happy to learn about the World Cup score as soon as we get him around over toward the banner. What was that?
No spoilers. People might not be watching.
Okay, fair enough. I won't do any spoilers, though, although I suppose that would put a bigger smile on his face than he already has. Jack, you have a 50% pole rate on the season so far. Congratulations, by the way. Getting pole here in Canada, though, it means just a little bit more when you can do it on a track like this, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm just adjusting my hat, actually. I think my head's getting a bit bigger. 1 second.
Well, we'll keep you down to size, don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's been great. The car was obviously, we knew this was going to be a track which really suited us. This is almost designed for our car, this type of track. So we knew we were going to be strong. The next race, Lime Rock, will be much more difficult for us. But yeah, really happy with the way the car's been performing this weekend. I had a really good feeling the minute we got rolled off the truck, and I think both myself and David are pretty happy. And yeah, I think the speed's coming easy. So really enjoying driving as well. You know, this is one of those tracks where when you have new tyres and low fuel, it's it's a hell of a lot of fun. So really enjoying myself today. It's been good fun.
Does it put more pressure on you guys when you know that the car is going to be good here? Because then you really have to perform. It's up to you.
Well, you always got to perform, whether it's bad or whether it's good or whether it's somewhere in between. So the nice thing is when you do perform and the car's working well and the team's working well, and you get the result as well. So very happy. The guys did a great job with the car, the whole 3GT team, and onwards to the race. I think we've got a great chance. And like I say, this is a circuit which should suit us. So we have to capitalise, and we'll try to do that tomorrow.
There will be a lot of fan love for you guys simply because of the color of the car this year, but have you felt more campers coming up to you, more people reaching out because they realize what you've accomplished so far this year?
It's been good, yeah. I think for the whole team, it's just been a big boost to see how well we've done. And this track specifically, there's always a great crowd, great vibe, and I think Canadians love the motorsport, and I always love coming to Canada. I loved it when I raced in Toronto, and I love coming here as well. This fantastic facility. So great to be here, and I can't wait to race.
Good luck tomorrow.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And we'll be having full live commentary, including our Michelin Countdown to Green before the IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship. All of the atmosphere from the pit lane and the grid before that race tomorrow. For those of you outside of the US, that's all live on IMSA TV. No breaks, no blocks. And for those of you here in the US, it will be Brian Till and the rest of the team who will be bringing that to you on FS1 on a bit of a delay, I think it is, tomorrow on that one. A lot of sport going on over the weekend. Good performance again by Yorkshire's finest.
Yeah, in and out of the car. That was a great interview, I thought. And he's so much more relaxed nowadays, is Jack. He's loving the environment that 3GT Racing has built around him in the program. He is the focal point of this program. He's a super talented, super quick driver, and as you could hear there, he's a good little personality as well. He's pretty quiet, is Jack. He doesn't say an awful lot, but that was, I think, the most relaxed interview I've probably ever seen with him.
I like the comment about not being able to get the hat on because his head was getting too big. That was brilliant piece of improvisation there. The Lexus program has come on in leaps and bounds. Of the two newcomers, over a season ago now, of course they were playing a little bit of catch up with Acura because Acura got the results a little bit earlier, and it was easy to overlook how well Lexus were actually doing in what was still a very young program. It started to pay dividends now. Yeah, very much so, John. I completely agree with you there. And they kind of shot themselves in the foot last year on several occasions. They had the potential to win races or get podiums and get good results, but for one reason or another, those top finishes kind of eluded them, and there were mistakes in the pits or mistakes by the drivers out on track, whatever it was. But this year they're really coming on strong, and they've already had the team finally got its first win at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course a couple of months ago. That was with the sister car, number 14 of Carl Marcelli and Dominic Baumann, both new to the program this season, but it was a great result there for them. They had a 1-2 on the grid, and it was number 14 car that came home with the win. So congratulations to Jack Hawksworth. His teammate Dominic Baumann will start alongside him on the GT Daytona front row. Then it's championship leader Brian Sellers in the 48 Lamborghini, who will have Ben Keating for company on row 2. What a qualifying for Ben Keating, 4th in amongst some very big names there. The Riley Technologies 33 on the outside of the second row. Yeah, excellent performance there by Ben. He's been qualifying very nicely all season long, but I think this is his best one yet. It certainly is best in terms of result. The previous best was 6th at Detroit, but to be that close to the other guys, I mean, just not even barely thousandths behind or hundredths of a second behind Brian Sellers, the championship leader. That is a very fine effort by the Mercedes driver Ben Keating. Says how well dialed in that car is as well. Whilst Jack Hawksworth completes the formalities and the media interviews at pit out, let's go back down to Shea Adam, who will have the qualifying drivers for our next GT class. This is GT Le Mans, the works cars. Shea, what have you got for us?
Shall we do them by experience level at this track, John? Just mix it up a little bit.
All right, okay.
All right,
you did it by, what did you do by last age?
I did it by age last week. Okay. And no, Bubba, I'm not going to do it by weight because that would get me into a lot of trouble with people. Thank you, Bubba. Is that
what Bubba Clark said, was
yes, it? Yes, he threw that suggestion out last week for this week.
Bubba Clark is our ace audio engineer and technician, and just general great guy as part of the TV crew here, on whom he and the rest of his colleagues, we rely very heavily to be able to see the far side of the circuit, of course. All right, experience. Let's start with the least experienced drivers then.
Yes, because that's the way that I had done it in my head. Excellent. All right, we'll have to see how this pans out this time. The number 24 BMW will be qualified by the rookie to the track, Jesse Krohn. He has been given duties. For the 25 BMW, the sister car, it's a tie between he and the driver of the number 912. But for the 25, Alexander Sims, who has a perfect record here. He has raced once and won once. So he will be taking the qualifying for the BMW number 25. His teammate, longtime teammate, sitting up on the Turner BMW box, Bill Oberlin, watching, cheering him on. Okay, the next least qualified would be Lawrence Vantor, who has one start here. He is going to be taking out the number 912 Porsche, looking for his first pole position with this team in the U.S. And the first Porsche pole position came last year here. That was in the hands of Dirk Werner in the sister car, the number 911, which is Nick Tandy, and I'm pretty sure he is the next least experienced out of the 5 we have remaining, well now 4. For the Ford guys, the number 67 would be Ryan Briscoe as the green flag comes out. Then I would venture a guess that the number 66, Joey Hand, is the next on the experience level. And between the two Corvette guys, it's going to be a very close toss-up. But I'm going to say Oliver Gavin has fewer starts than Jan Magnussen. And those are the guys driving the number 4 and 3 Corvettes, respectively. I think that's everybody.
That's at this circuit we're talking about here. Jan Magnussen, this is his 701st motor race. That was his 700th last weekend. And
who's counting?
He was, but not early enough to remind us of that last weekend at the Watkins Glen International event for the Sealand 6 hours at the Glen. All right, rinse and repeat. 15 minutes were on the clock when the green flag came out. 3 Corvette then is straight out with Jan Magnussen. Ollie Gavin followed him out as well. Comes up to the braking area for the Moss complex. Ollie Gavin, meanwhile, is heading up the hill at turn 3 and towards the Chevrolet bridge at turn 4. How appropriate. The sound of a V8 in the afternoon. That makes me feel good. That makes me happy.
The 16 drivers in GTLM this weekend, or on a regular basis, I reckon 4 of them have yet to have a pole position to the name. All of the others have at least one pole. But Lawrence Vantor, I think Shea said was going to be qualifying the number 912 car. He's got an opportunity to end that streak. And the BMW drivers, neither of them have got a pole either. Alexander Sims nor Jesse Krohn have a pole to them. I think that's unlikely to happen because those cars haven't been at the front-running pace yet this weekend. But for Lawrence Vantor, yeah, the Porsches, they were Shea's picks this morning. I'm not going to argue with that.
It's getting hotter as well, and hotter normally
pick.
means better for Porsche, although not necessarily, but that's the old thinking at least. Magnussen lead on the track. He was the first car out. Michelin's coming up the temperature now as he heads onto the Andretti straight over the first rise. No problems about track position here and getting a quick run. Meantime, Helio Castro Neves, who has had two offs in consecutive laps at Moss Corner yesterday. Second one far bigger than the first, did a lot of damage to the back of the car. Just thinking about maybe visualising the track back in the paddock there. Looks like he's going to qualify then, that number 6 car.
It does, doesn't it? The limbering up there, and it's got some tunes going as well. That's classic Helio before he hops into the car.
Magnussen bringing the temps up gently, not yet faster than the GT Daytona pole sitter, but that's not a worry. Very interesting to see how the GT Le Mans cars just take a little more time to cycle their tyres up to where they want them, the optimum. Down into turn 1 then, Mick Tandy turns in. The wheel of that flat 6 engine is something otherworldly, like a banshee, particularly on the lift-off. Fantastically well balanced down through too.
Yeah, there's no lifting off there, is there?
No, not at all. He was nailed to the floor. Right foot absolutely pinned from Tandy. If you haven't experienced, if you're at the track here listening on 90.7 FM, and you haven't experienced these new Porsches yet, that noise from the exhaust, that started last year at Le Mans, not last Le Mans, the one before. They changed the exhaust, and ever since it's had this extraordinary sound. I think it sounds fantastic. Doesn't sound like any other 6-cylinder Porsche I have ever heard.
Yeah, it is fabulous, isn't it? It is completely distinctive, and yeah, it's very easy on the ear. But Nick Tandy, he has been the man this weekend. He set the fastest time this morning of the weekend at 1:14.055.
Ollie Gavin's just done a 14.3, Jeremy. That's not bad for an opening fast lap.
Lap record, Dirk Werner last year in this mid-engine Porsche, 14.085.
Right, so we're looking for a 13 here, is what you're saying, Jeremy. That's what I'm reading from between the lines of Mr. Shaw's comments there.
Well, we've got a 14.1 there from Lawrence Vantor. 14.171.
10 minutes to go. spot on. 10 minutes to go.
On the Belgian, he goes to the top by just over, well, almost a tenth and a half from Oliver Gavin. Jan Magnussen slots into third position. He's on a better lap now.
As is Nick Tandy. Ollie Gavin's on an absolute flyer. And the Corvettes, bright yellow cars can seldom be dark horses, but the Corvettes here can never be counted out. This is a big race for them. They have a manufacturing plant just down the road at Oshawa, and
well, first of all, Oliver Gavin went up into second place, number 4 car. Then right behind him on the racetrack, Jan Magnussen went fastest, a 1:14.126 for car number 3.
Fords are out.
Alexander Sims has just gone purple in sector 1 in the BMW. Maybe I counted them out too soon.
Fords are out as well, bringing their Michelin tyres up to temp and pressure. So Jan Magnussen then, who was huddled over a TV screen, or a phone at least, earlier on, watching his son qualify at Silverstone in absolutely glorious conditions. Actually warmer there than it is here.
Did well too, I think. Second in class, wasn't he? Well, behind his teammate, but behind the big 6.
Yeah, absolutely. Got into the...
Nick Tandy has gone to the top now with a 1:14.121. 14.121 for Tandy, number 911. Jan Magnussen 14.126. Lawrence Vantor 14.171. Is that close enough for you?
Half a tenth.
Oh,
the top 3.
And Alexander Sims a 14.213. He's only a tenth of a second off as well. A remarkable effort from Sims. He was purple in sector 1. That's just been eclipsed by Lawrence Vantor fractionally. But Sims purple also, fastest of all in sector 3 in the BMW.
Ollie Gavin through in the 4 car, now all of a sudden down in 5th position. Jan Magnussen improved again there and stretches his lead from 0.005 of a second to 0.023 of a second. So he's on a 14.09. There's the 13! There's the 13! Nick Tandy with that 911 screaming a 13.905, 73.9 seconds.
But watch Vantor, purple sector 1 and sector 2, coming up to the line.
It's gone through. Just waiting for the tide.
He lost it on that final sector. He was still improved, but he didn't take advantage of those brilliant first 2 sectors in that number 912.
Got to do it. Oh, a huge slide for the 912, and he's off at the bottom of the hill at turn 2. Lost it right in the second turning point. It's a double pressure, double apex corner, and he lost it. The back end just slid out a little bit. Fortunately, he'd have been on grass there a few years ago, and that would have been a huge off.
Nick Tandy has gone faster again in the first sector, massively faster on this lap. Jan Magnussen just went purple in sector 2, the middle part of the lap.
Well, that's down to a 14 flat, so that's another little improvement for Jan Magnussen.
What's this lap going to be from Tandy? This is going to put Pole perhaps beyond reach. A replay of Lawrence Vantor.
He was leaning on it. He got through turn 1, just about held on round the white line. Big dab of the brakes, trying to get the car settled down into turn 2, but it just slid away from
13.6 is the answer for Nick Tandy.
Ding dong, Tandy calling.
That's a great lap. It's always the same, isn't it, with GTLM? We don't see their true colours, their true pace until we get to the qualifying session. He's found a better part of a half a second since this morning. Briscoe up into second place in the Ford, number 67, at a 1:13.8.
That was his first flying lap.
It was.
Big slide for Vantur a couple of laps ago, cost him a crack at the pole, but he's pushing again, almost drops the Michelins off at the exit of turn 3 on the top of the hill. Oh my goodness, he is absolutely on it. Nothing being left out on the circuit here. The Michelin tyres, we saw this at Watkins Glen, hanging on for the whole of the 15 minutes, and as the weight goes down, as the fuel burns off, Ford's here might be in a good spot, Jeremy.
Well, they reckon this is going to be one of their weaker circuits. They reckon they don't have the torque of some of these other contenders, so they certainly weren't expecting to be challenging for the pole, and well, perhaps they're not, because Tandy's gone faster again, 1:13.517, but that's a great lap from Briscoe in car number 67. So it's now Porsche, Ford, Chevrolet, and I think it was 3 different cars in the 3 different sector times.
Third place for Vantur. Vantur goes into third, and back into the pit lane, Joey Hand immediately. He's not really set a time that he'll be happy with, a 14.2, but he's only done one flying lap. So that tells you something about what the Fords think about what's going on here. The 67 of Ryan Briscoe's just going through turn 1. Shea Adam down in the pit lane.
Could it be that he's saving the tires, John? Because this means he'll be able to go longer in his first stint tomorrow?
Well, it means he'll have better tyres for longer in his first stint. Yes, that is true. The 66 in the pit lane with 4.5 minutes to go. You can't touch the car. So they can't, if they've overpressured or underpressured those Michelins, there's nothing they can do about it. I'd be surprised if that was the case. Magnussen back to third in the 3. So punches, just leapfrogs the Lawrence Vanthoor number 912. We now have 5 cars. So for Tandy, Briscoe, Magnussen, Vanthoor and Ollie Gavin in half a second.
Well, yeah, and
Jesse Cron's right there as well, by the way.
Yeah, and Alexander Sims is only a tenth behind them. So Nick Tandy has got 0.3 of a second on everybody at the moment, and that same margin goes pretty much back to Joey Hand at the tail of the field in the GTLM. It's super tight.
Shea Adam has news on the 66 Chip Ganassi Ford back in the pit lane and will probably take no further part in this qualifying session, Shea.
That is correct, and thank you to Lachelle, who says that it came in for a mechanical reason. Joey reported that it's super loose and it feels like there is something wrong in the left front of that car, so he will not be going back out.
Well, last week they had a front roll bar problem with one of their cars. That was the sister car, wasn't it?
It was. Number 67 car happened late in the right towards the end of the first hour, actually during the caution period at Watkins Glen. For the number 67 car, had no operational front roll bar for the remaining 5 hours. That made that car a real handful, particularly in that heat. And that's why the number 67 car wasn't able to challenge in the closing stages at Watkins Glen, whereas the 66 car went on to win. So it's Porsche, Ford, Chevrolet, the top 3. Once again, showing the showing the parity.
Oh, hello,
GTLM.
Ryan Briscoe's found some pace in the middle sector in the 67 car. Needs to find 3.5 tenths, so I'm not sure he's got quite that much. Oh, that was a pretty quick middle sector. He's got a couple of tenths on Tandy. 13.8. He's at the. That's another quick time. So we've now got 4 drivers below 1 minute 14. In comes Jan Magnussen. He's going to peel off this time. No, he's not. I tell a lie. He stayed out. He's just making some room for him to have another go with 2 minutes on the clock. Ryan Briscoe's not done with this, Jeremy. He's just put in a very quick first sector. He thinks he's got half a chance here, you know.
He does. Just a tenth down on Nick Tandy on that lap.
Oh, down in through 3 and 4.
Light lock up going up to 5A. Might not have slowed him down. And on the very, very edge there is Ryan Briscoe in that number 67 Ford GT.
3.5 litre EcoBoost engine behind the driver. Extraordinary feat of engineering, this car. Just noticed this week, the 5th car delivered into the UK, road car delivered into the UK, was sent to its owner.
Wouldn't have had a chance to drive it yet then.
I wish. I don't think I would have got past the selection process.
Another improvement from Ryan Briscoe, just fractional, a 13.831 again. So another 13.8.
That's it for Ryan.
Yeah.
There's no more in that.
3 really, really good laps there by the Carolina-based Aussie.
Yeah, he's lifted right off. So is there any challenge to come? Lawrence Vanthoor still out there, but not improving this time around. Jesse Cron is out there, but not improving this time around. Onto the back straight, the howling flat 6 of the Porsche number 912, shattering the afternoon peace and quiet on the back straight there. He's down into turn 8 already, turns in, comes right from the outside. No, he's off it. That's Nick Tandy actually that's coming into the pit, so Tandy was out there as well. Oh, Vanthoor is still on it now. Is he coming into the pits? Tandy is. Vanthoor might get one more lap here. Past us. Over the red and white curbs, yes, he will get one more. So with Nick Tandy in the pit lane and a cooling off lap done by Van Tour at a 1:16.2. The checkered flag is out, and it's all down to Lawrence Van Tour, who does not have a pole position. Another big slide halfway through the downhill run at turn 2. But he held onto it much better that time. Goes all the way out to the white line on the left-hand side of the track as he crests the brow. Now heads under the Chevrolet bridge and down towards the heavy braking area, coming uphill to the Moss Corner complex. Oh, that Porsche turned in quite nicely there. Very handily rotating. Now onto the back straight. Get out your e-reader, read a couple of chapters. Thanks very much. Yeah, just went through that. Lifted off. He's lifted off. So the delta, the timing on his dashboard will have told him he wasn't making any time up on Jan Magnussen or Ryan Briscoe or Nick Tandy ahead of him. Ryan Briscoe, with a track that doesn't suit the Ford, 2 out of 3 best sectors, Jeremy. Sectors 2 and 3 belong to Ryan Briscoe. Nick Tandy is the king of Sector 1. And Nick Tandy then will claim the pole position for GT Le Mans category. Thumbs up from him in the car as he fires up the engine to roll down and have a word with Shea Adam. This is 2 Englishmen having taken pole so far. We almost had 3 British pole sitters last weekend.
Well, we did have 3 British pole sitters.
Starters.
At the end,
yes.
Starting.
Yeah.
But
when it
Paul
started,
the Rester was pit by 0.006 of a second, I think it was, by Colin Brown, the core of the sport team, which then
Nick Tandy
mud in everybody's face by electing to start from the back.
Nick Tandy making life more difficult for himself, pulling down to Shea by not having fastened the steering column into place. Out of the car now, our pole sitter for the Mobil 1 SportsCar Grand Prix in GT Le Mans. 5th time he will have started from pole position in category here in this championship. Nick Tandy for the 911 Porsche, and Shea Adam is there.
Nick, you do like this track. We like it when you get pole position. It's been a little while since you did, but you got pole here in 2015, went on to win the race. Feeling like maybe this beast can do the same thing for you again tomorrow?
I hope so. I mean, qualifying's one thing. It's going to be hot this weekend, so it's good that we can bring our tyres up to temperature, and the Porsche is obviously really good on this track. We showed that last year. But the race is obviously not 1 lap long, so we will see tomorrow what the kind of pace is on the long run. I'm sure we won't have such an advantage, and I'm sure it'll be a close race and enjoyable to watch. But hopefully we can stay out front. We qualified in pole here in 15, like you say, and we won the race, so hope to carry on that stream.
And the weather was very similar then too, so that's got to help you guys. It's a bit breezy, but it's a beautiful Canadian summer day, so that's always nice.
Yeah, it's good. It's been a good day for England so far, with the World Cup, with the Formula 1 at Silverstone, and now here. So, yeah, GTD and GTLM. So, yeah, it's been a good day.
Well, you and Hawksworth as well, because he got pole in GTD, so that works even better. When we come to a track like this, and you know that you're going to be going out for a pole position, you know how much you love it here, but Westy last week took the lead in 5 pole positions for GTLM over the history. Now you've tied him, though, so who's going to get it at Lime Rock next week?
It won't be me, because I probably won't be qualifying.
So we have to wait for Road America then?
Maybe. Let's see. No, I didn't realise that, actually. 5 poles in GTLM is quite an achievement, so yeah, happy with that.
Well, good luck tomorrow, and we look forward to seeing you and Patrick hopefully battling for another win.
I'm looking forward to the race. That's for sure.
Sounded really positive there, Nick Tandy, really enjoying that. You can see he really laid it out on the track there. Wayland's tweeted at IMSA Radio, says, I love this track. Looks so simple, but it's not at all, and it's all about the size of the driver's fortitude, which is absolutely, it's about commitment here and momentum, and the driver does make a big difference. 2-0 to England at the moment then in pole positions. Is anybody going to get one back in the next run? Patrick Pele straight down to congratulate his teammate.
Be up to Randy. Is there any other Brits in the prototypes?
I don't even think there's anyone we can claim. Certainly no Englishman. So it would have to be for Britain.
Oh, Harry Tinkler, of
course.
course.
Tinkers, yes, Tinkers. Yeah. Oh, Tinks, yes.
And Ollie Jarvis.
Tinks and Jarvo, yeah.
And Stephen Simpson was born in the UK, so he can sort of kind of count. The But Mazda's both run pretty well this weekend. See what they can do for qualifying. This is going to be a fascinating final qualifying session, I think, coming up.
I'm struck by the positivity of Nick Tandy there. Big smile on his face, thoroughly enjoyed that, and clearly you can see when a driver is happy with his own performance, and he was happy with his own performance right there. And that is, I think, Shea, you interviewed him there, so you know what I'm talking about. Nick wears his heart on his sleeve. If it's not going quite the way that it had been planned in the meetings, you can tell. There, he was very happy with what he'd just done, and that's dangerous for everybody else in GTLM.
Yeah, when Nick Tandy's smiling, it normally means that the competition's going to be behind him. So watch out tomorrow, because it'll be hard to get past him. And he is one of those guys, John, when he's having a good week, he is darn near impossible to beat. And he's definitely having a good week so far.
Dion Fialo says, just looking at the times, Laurent Vantour was improving on the qualifying lap, on his last qualifying lap, but was done for track limits in turn 1. That's why he backed out of it.
He was off the road in turn 2 as well, wasn't he?
No, that was earlier. Yeah, that was earlier. But he stayed on the road in turn 2, but he did go very wide in turn 1. So thank you for that, Dion. Qualifiers for the ultimate pole position for the Mobil 1 Sports Car Grand Prix. We'll have that live for you on Sunday here. If you're outside of the North American continent, you'll be able to watch and listen live via IMSA TV and IMSA Radio. You can carry that with you. Also XM Sirius, of course, if you are travelling around tomorrow afternoon. And then you can catch the replay on FS1 if you are in North America. Shea, what do you have in terms of qualifiers for the prototype category?
Okay, I'm going to try and not skip anybody, because I've walked about 3/4 of the way down. So I'll start all the way back at the other end. The number 5 is going to be Christian Fittipaldi, while the sister car, the number 31, is Eric Curran. He's won here in the last 2 years consecutively in the prototype category. The next car down will be the number 6. That is Dane Cameron, and watch out for him trying to defend America's honor, as 2 Brits have taken the pole again. Then we have the JDC Muller Motorsport crew. Misha Goikberg, the Canadian, is in the Red Dragon, and Robert Alon is in the Banana Boat. Renger van de Zanda is in the shiny black number 10, the Konica Minolta DPI VR. And then we have the number 7. That Acura is being driven by Elio Castro Neves. I'm going to save the 54 because that's the one that we all really want to know the answer to. So build up a little bit of suspense.
I like the tension. Very good.
Yeah, you know, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
The number 77, I see an arm hanging out the window, which means it's Tristan Nunez. Hello, Tristan. Good luck trying to get another pole here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. And in the number 55, it is Jonathan Bomarito. He's gotten pole here before. That was 2014 in the Viper, which was a lot of fun. 2 more cars down the pit lane, and yes, I am still walking down towards them. This pit lane,
I can hear that, yes.
Rather spaced out. Who is that? That is Sebastian Saavedra, qualifying the number 52, the AFS Pierre-One Matheson Ligier, and then for the number 22, Razzle Dazzle for ESM.
Right. So we have got a chance of another British pole then. We could have the whitewash. Now,
yes,
the big question, Shea Adam, as our Continental Tire Pit Lane reporter, in each of the 3 sessions that we have had so far, Colin Brown has gone out and put the 54 Core Autosport Orica on top of the times. And is he behind the wheel of the 54?
He's got a chance to do it again, John. He is qualifying, so it is Colin in that number 54 Core Autosports Orica.
Can we claim him from England right now?
No, he's from Texas. Stop that. Bo would not like you right now.
And I think this is a sensible call, and I think this time, if they get the pole position like they did last time out at Watkins Glen, they'll
start from pole.
I certainly would, and Jeff Brown's a lot smarter than me in terms of strategies, no question. But I would.
There's a couple of things there, Jeremy, that I think will make that decision easier for them. Number 1, the drive time here for John Bennett is 45 minutes. Yes, that's about a stint. I reckon they can get 45 minutes out of that. So that's 1 stint in the car for John.
Particularly John, because he uses less fuel than Colin.
Right. Secondly, I think that if they've got the opportunity to pull away and get track position at the start of the stint. We've had full green flag races here before.
We have, and even if there is, and particularly if there is, in actual fact, Colin will try to pull out a margin. Then when he hands it over to John Bennett for the one stint that he will do, then he will be, if he's in the lead with an advantage, even better, because he is going to lose ground. But if he's out there in the front, that's much better from my perspective than starting him at the back of the pack in the race.
Where shorter lap here, easier to lose a lap. That's the other talking point for my money.
But then again, if they elect to start with John, and if there is a full cause caution in the early stages, that will improve his likelihood of being able to stay on the lead lap before he hands over the car to Colin Brown. So it's not an easy decision either way. I hope though that if they do get the pole, that they start there. Yeah, I think, and I believe, particularly after last weekend, that something IMSA might be looking at for the future is changing regulations. Don't take anything away from what Motorsport did last year. They were perfectly within the regulations.
And it worked for them, Jeremy. Let's be honest.
They used it. Yeah, I mean, they probably should have won the race. They didn't finish second. But that's still a great result for that team. The team's best since stepping up from PC via GTD, and so but this weekend certainly there is an opportunity, even with a proper pro-am lineup, to come away with a victory.
So the cars are out on the circuit. Christian Fittipaldi is in the number 5 Mustang sampling Cadillac, and I think he was the first man to get out of the pits. No, he's not actually. I can see. Yes. The 22 was late out on parade, decided to come out at the back of everyone else. And the 7 of Elio Castroneves has not yet come out through the end of the pit lane. Neither has Dane Cameron. They must have just started rolling. So 6 Dane Cameron, 7 Elio Castroneves now leave the end of the pit lane, as does Ryan DL. He's just ahead of them on the circuit. So
they should all have clear track.
Well, yes, you'd hope so. Here's the Mustang sampling number 5 coming through the final right-hander, rubs up onto the curb a little bit, crossing the line now and heading to turn 1. And Christian Fittipaldi with a 1:11.677. Eric Curran 1:12.1 in the 31, the second of the Action Express cars, but running under the red and white colours of Whelen Engineering.
And the benchmark time is a 1:06.7 this morning from Colin Brown, caliber 54.
Our most recent race winning car, the 99 Red Dragon, the Gainsco machine. He's out with Misha Goikberg at the wheel. Just had a little moment at the bottom of turn 2, but managed to hold on to it.
The lap record, by the way, last year set by Ricky Taylor in the Cadillac at 1:08.459. Expect that to be obliterated.
That's the qualifying record.
Qualifying record, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I expect that to go by some margin. Although the temperature is coming up a little bit.
Yeah.
The Continentals will have to deal with that, so will the drivers. It's a short session. Ryan DL to the top, 1:09, still time to come.
Yeah. Stunning first sector there for Colin Brown on this lap one. It's 19.028. The fastest sector time so far is a 19.2 by Colin Brown. So 0.2 of a second in the first sector for Brown.
Robert Alon to the top, goes ahead of Christian Fittipaldi and Eric Curran, who'd also gone quicker than Ryan DL. The 85 then, with the best time is 1:07.262. Renger van der Zande with the 7.8, 1:07.829, so that's half a second between those two. And Colin Brown, well, he's not even playing in the 1:07s, he's straight down into the 1:06s. 1:06.616, that's a new record for qualifying, and I have a strong suspicion that Colin isn't finished yet.
Yeah, but I don't think he was fastest in either the second or the third sectors,
no, he wasn't.
Was he? So
he was
is
not.
there more to come there? 1:06.6.
19 seconds flat for the first sector. 19.009 for Colin Brown in the tangerine and white Core Autosport car. as he goes through turn 5 and on the back straight. Robert Alon has just done the best sector 2 time. Here comes Saavedra up to turn 5. Robert Alon at 106, well, he's in the 6s as well, but it's a 106.8, but he's closed down Colin. Colin 3/10 slower in the middle sector. Right, so now we know why Colin is fast in the first sector. They've got more wing on that car. Although it's still quick, 176.5.
Very impressive lap from Robert Alon there, car number 85, second fastest at the moment.
Reset, 106.4, now the new best. Sectors 1 and 3, Colin Brown and the number 54 car. Here's Alon through to complete another lap. Dane Cameron into second now for Penske Team Acura, 106.3, and he betters the sector 3 time. That's now a 16.029. Colin Brown under 19 seconds by 2/10 in that first sector.
Yeah, but he was almost 3/10 off in the final sector from his earlier best this morning. Actually, more.
There's never a 105 here, is there?
4/10 off the what?
There's a 105
what
out
he managed
there.
this morning. Yes, there is.
There's a 105 out there. If Colin hooks this all up, there is a 65-second lap around here. 31.4. That's about what he's been doing in the middle sector.
Yep.
Now, can he get the third sector hooked up here? 176 miles an hour through the trap. 106.315 with a 15.9. He was half a mile an hour slower through the trap. 176 miles an hour. Dane Cameron only 173 miles an hour in second place. Remains in second place, but with a new best time for him of 106.5. Colin Brown still with track ahead of him that is clear, and the same can be said for Dane Cameron. Robert Alon now down in third in the 85 Orica. Orica Acura, Orica Cadillac with Renger van der Zande in the number 10. The glossy black Konica Minolta car, 107.0. He's 3/4 of a second away from Colin Brown's time.
Another good lap coming up here for Dane Cameron. Second at the moment, a 106.5. So 106.3 for Brown, 106.5 for Cameron. An excellent 106.8 for Robert Alon in car number 85. That is very impressive for a guy who's a lot less experience in racing cars than someone like Colin Brown.
The Achilles heel of the 54 car, if it can be said to have one, is in the middle sector, and he slowed right off towards the end of this lap, so he's given himself a little bit of space. Here comes Dane Cameron, and behind him his teammate Elio Castro-Neves has just gone into 5th last time around. Can he improve from that? He's up behind on the times Renger van der Zande.
He can improve, but he hasn't gone hasn't improved on his position. So still 5th for Castro-Neves, turn 107.272 that on that lap. Sebastian Saavedra, a good effort there in 6th place in car number 52 for 107.3. That's a Ligier for AFS PR1 Matheson Motorsports.
6.5 minutes to go here, Jeremy. No sign of anybody letting off, and Dane Cameron going faster again, an 18.949 for him in the first sector. Jonathan Bomarito with the 55 Mazda's best lap last time around, and that is the best Mazda. 7th position for a 107.3. That middle sector all of a sudden is becoming problematical for everybody, dropping a couple of tenths. Dane Cameron that time around. Elio Castro-Neves, 107.2. He's coming round to the line now. Can he improve again? I don't think so. Oh, hang on. Colin Brown has just turned it back up again. 1 lap off the pace. He did a 108.1 last time. And now he's turned it up again. 18.871 for the 54, the white and tangerine car.
A couple of hundredths quicker than his previous best sector 1.
It's that middle sector. If he gets a really good run through the middle sector, he's losing a couple of 3/10 to 32.1. Nowhere near.
Second off.
Yeah, nowhere near. And he's off the throttle straight away. I think he might be coming into the pit lane here.
Yeah, definitely.
Is he? No, he stays out. Staying out, and he gets back on it again. Lights up the Continentals coming through the penultimate corner. Had to, because he was getting caught by Renger van der Zande. Didn't want to get in Renger's way as he came across. 5 minutes to go, Jeremy. Tristan Nunez improves in the number 77 Mazda, a 107.7. That's 9th place for Tristan. Van der Zande has a car that looks very nicely balanced underneath him. That's the number 10.
Yeah, and he's done well. Best of the Cadillacs in car number 10. Again, for the second week in a row, Renger van der Zande in that car number 10. Fourth fastest, 1:7.093 is his best.
Oh, he's lost it. Lost it all at Moss Corner. Missed his braking point and went out over the curb in the middle. I think he's lifted off.
Nunez and Christian Fittipaldi both improved, but down in 9th and 10th. Jonathan Bomarito improves in the Mazda 55 car, 107.202, so just ahead of Helio Castro Neves.
Yeah, 2nd and 6th for the Acura Team Penske cars. Neither Tim Cindric or Roger Penske here for the races this weekend. They are otherwise engaged down at Iowa.
Well, and Florida too at Daytona for the Monster Cup Series these days. Another good lap there for Robert Alon. He's improved again in that first sector. That's an excellent effort by Alon, the Californian in car number 85. He started racing 4 or 5 years ago, moved straight into the IMSA Prototype Challenge Series, and then a couple of years ago up into PC category, and then last year drove for GTD and 3GT.
Juan Montoya on the pit lane with the rest of his team. Got parked for 5 minutes this morning for being overly aggressive, effectively, and if sort of an ungentlemanly conduct kind of call. Parked for 5 minutes. Has been in front of the beak, been to see the headmaster, our race director.
It was from yesterday.
From yesterday's practice session. There was an incident out on the circuit that's caught the attention of race control and has had a warning, basically, and that warning shown to everybody this morning by parking that Acura for 5 minutes in the session.
Another slight improvement for Jonathan Bomarito, number 55 Mazda, but no improvement in position, still 5th for that car, at 107.109 last time around. Misha Goikberg and Christian Fittipaldi both improve in 10th and 11th. That was a good lap also from Dane Cameron in the Acura number 6.
Yes, it was.
It was only, well, fractionally slower, 106.551 to his best of 106.540, so that's still better than anybody else has managed.
Yeah, 3 drivers below 67 seconds, that being Colin Brown in the 54 Orica, Dane Cameron in the Acura number 6, and Robert Alon in the 85 Orica. Spin for the 99. Misha Goikberg has gone off the circuit, and
He's done well, he hasn't hit anything, has he?
I don't believe he has. That was bottom of the hill coming out of 2, heading up the hill towards 3.
Not easy to do here. Another improvement again from Jonathan Bomarito. He's inching closer and closer to Renger van der Zande. 7.109 last time for Bomarito.
Renger van der Zande is in the pit lane. Dane Cameron is in the pit lane. Ryan DL is in the pit lane. It's going to be the Texas native, I think, again, who is the only one out there that's, well, I don't think anybody can challenge that. 2 1/4 tenths now, and he's going to be the lone North American of our 3 pole sitters. Oh, it looks like Misha Goikberg going to have one more go. He's cleaned off the Continental tyres, and we'll have one more go across the line now. Heads down towards turn 1 with 24 seconds to go. Oh, now he was in close proximity to the 31 of Eric Curran. Now, was he catching Eric and tried to get offline and therefore looped it? Doesn't seem to have been any damage on the car. 31 has come into the pit lane, as has, that's Eric Curran, as has Christian Fittipaldi with the checkered flag out.
It was an improvement last time around for Sebastian Saavedra in car number 52, 7th position. That's where he was before, 107.276, so just 4 thousandths behind Helio Castro-Neves, who is improving on this lap, by the way, is Castro-Neves. Just gone,
yes, he is.
Personal best in the first sector.
He could get on to the third place here if he doesn't drop too much more time. He's a couple of tenths away from what the guys have been doing for the very fast times. Might just drop onto the second row here. Through comes Saavedra, back into the pit lane in the rhubarb and custard, the yellow and red car. Here is Castro-Neves.
There's going to be no improvement here. Lost some time in the middle sector.
He did complete the lap, Jeremy. Sees the checkered flag.
107.4 it was for Castro-Neves. His best at 107.2.
And everyone has seen a checkered flag or has pitted. So that means that Colin Brown will be asked to fire up the Gibson engine on the number 54 Oreca. Back-to-back pole positions in IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship for Colin Brown.
An 8th in total. Equaling Ricky Taylor.
He's going to roll down to the end of pit lane where Shea Adam will be waiting for him. Sweet pole position. It's 2 Englishmen and a Texan as far as our pole sitters are concerned. Shea Adam is waiting down at pit out.
He's not here yet. That was the sound of the number 85, the banana boat, Robert Alon. How about a shout out for him in qualifying?
Yeah,
he
third
did a really
position.
good job.
Half a second away for Colin, but I mean, there's no shame in being half a second behind Colin on a day when Colin's performing the way he is today. So every single session so far, Core Autosport and the name of Bran C has been at the top of the timing and scoring monitor. He heads down with just the Mazda number 55 behind him. He'll pull out of the way so that Jonathan Bomarito can head back to the paddock, which he does. The car is left in gear because there's no parking brake, of course. The left-hand door comes open. Everything put where it should be, including belts and radio plugs, etc. Because you don't want to mess that up in front of all the cameras.
He's being very diligent, John.
Shea Adam for the Continental Tire Pit Lane Report with our pole sitter for Sunday's Mobil 1 Sports Car Grand Prix at the Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. It is Core Autosport and Colin Brown with a new qualifying record by some margin.
Yeah, and he will be proud of that, especially at this track where he has found victory before with an Oreca chassis. That's happened twice for Colin. And again, the Texan defending our honor as Americans because it was 2 Brits who took the other 2 pole positions. So we're just waiting for Colin to put his helmet down. There we go. Hey, congratulations.
Thank you.
So that's pole position number 8 for you career-wise. But second overall, and you're 2 of 3 on the year. That we're still owed another position from you. Where's that one going to come from?
I don't know. We'll have to keep seeing. It's it's testament to these Core Sport guys. This Oreca was fast, obviously, in Watkins Glen, and we've been on our plan here so far this weekend. So it's been fun. This car is just a blast to drive. I love it around here. It's probably my favorite racetrack, and definitely a place I enjoy coming.
What is it about the Oreca chassis that makes it so good around Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, though?
I think it's a package of the great car. Obviously, it's an efficient car. I think our setup, we're learning every time we come to the racetrack. We're obviously, a single car team, small team, learning every time we go to the racetrack, and so we're building on each previous weekend. And so I think for us, it's just, learning along the way and building on our setups. I think, obviously, a great platform, but you wouldn't believe the amount of knowledge we gain every race and the amount we can make our car better, and just understanding how it works. And so I think the biggest thing, it just comes from knowing more about the car. I mean, we're, 5 races into our first season in this car. So certainly John and I are learning a lot, and guys learning how to work on it, and my dad engineering the things, figuring out how to make it fast. And so, yeah, just learning.
How much did you guys learn from Watkins Glen? Because as you said, a second place finish there, that's pretty significant.
Yeah, it was good. Great finish there in Watkins Glen. Felt like had that yellow fallen a little different at the end, we might have been right in the mix. But, obviously we were fast there. This track's not very different than what Watkins Glen is. It's fast, flowing, a lot of grip. And so, for us, coming to tracks that are similar are a big help. The start of the year was tough, going to Daytona, being a Roval, then going to a bumpy place like Sebring, and then right to a street course in Long Beach. You couldn't have picked 3 different weird tracks to try to figure out and understand. So we didn't really have any momentum going early part of the season because it was such a different setup for each track. Now that we're kind of into the flow, we're building on our setups and, making improvements as we see in the lap time for sure.
Well, congrats, Colin, and it's an extra good weekend for the Core Autosport team because with the Porsche on pole and GTLM, you guys did the best you could. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, good point. Core Autosport run the GT Le Mans cars as well. Nick Tandy in the 911 took the pole there from Ryan Briscoe in Ford, and in GTD, Jack Hawksworth leads a Lexus 1-2, 15 from 14. Dominic Baumann, the second position there. A couple of worthy notes there. Renger van der Zande, best of the Cadillacs, in 4th position, ahead of Jonathan Bomarito. Mazda up in 5th position. Robert Alon, we've mentioned, the second of the Oregas there in 3rd position. And Dane Cameron, any other day, a 1:06.5 around here would have been good enough for a new qualifying record and a pole position, Jeremy. And he has to come up against Colin Brown in the form of his life here this weekend. And Dane's been pushing him pretty hard all this weekend. But he will start on the outside of the front row, and that's a fast starting number 6, that car.
Yeah, very much so. All 12 cars, by the way, well underneath the old lap record set just last year by Ricky Taylor. Yeah, that is pretty impressive, isn't it? 108.4 was the pole last season.
Jeremy Shaw and John Hindhoff were in the booth. Shea Adam was our Continental Tire pit lane reporter. We'll be back with the whole race live on Sunday for the Mobil 1 SportsCar Grand Prix. Stay tuned to IMSA Radio and IMSA TV. We've got racing for you this afternoon. Continental Tire 120 coming up here from Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, and it's all live here on IMSA Radio and IMSA TV.